Welcome to another episode of the JoeZone podcast. Today we have a little bit of a serious topic. Earlier we had on some technical difficulties, so sorry for we late tonight. But yeah, we got a bit of a serious topic, and introduce my guest already. We have Thakira Muhammad, we have Natasha Marco, and we have Eugene Matthews. You all guys, you all still cool?
Yeah, still cool.
You're still cool, yeah, man. Sorry for the technical difficulties, like I say, and sorry for being late. But yeah, it's like I was saying, it's a little bit of a hard topic. People in my demographic tend to steer away from it. I guess that's where we must start, like, because I think they or we are ashamed. I should say we are ashamed of it. But yeah, I wanna speak about this topic, and I think it needs to be highlighted for a number of facts, like for a number of reasons. People shy away from it. It's like Thakira was saying earlier, comedians or no personalities, public personalities don't want to talk about it. It's not cool. It's not going to get you likes and stuff like that. It's not going to get you shares or whatever and stuff like that. That's not a commodity to me. So, but yeah. And another reason why it's like, it's tough for men to admit, like, that there's a lot of cuck they got to deal with, you know what I mean? It's awkward even, like I was saying so earlier, I had to like get dressed up tonight and to approach the topic, like, it's because I had so much, like, I was so nervous about it, like. But Thakira, we're gonna start first with you, like, obviously you're quite vocal about it, like, about this topic.
Yes, I am. So, good evening again to everyone. Thanks to everyone who's joined. It's lekker to be here. It's lekker to be back. I was telling my followers on social media, I was suffering from a little bit of crippling social anxiety for the last couple of months. I haven't been online for a while. So, this is one of my first gigs back. One of my first gigs where I found my voice again. So, thank you for the opportunity.
Why?
For the opportunity to be vocal again about the right thing. I think last year I was talking about too many things. So I had to go into a state of silence, and now I come back speaking about the right thing, which is gender-based violence, because this should not be a taboo topic. It shouldn't make people awkward. Yes, it should make people dress up. It should make people dress up to rock up to what is happening in our country, you know? So, yeah, just thank you for having me here. What do you want to know?
Yeah. First of all, we know why it's a taboo topic, or we can point out the reasons why. But like this show is trying to do something about it. Like, Natasha, what do you think? Like, why is men so bang to talk about it? Like, just if just the average guy, why is he bang to talk about it? What's going on? Like, what do you think from your perspective is going on?
I think that with society, a lot of people generalize.
Yeah.
So when they say, as a man, wat vergeslat het, or when they hear about abuse, the first thing they think of is a man.
Yeah.
People don't necessarily think that it's the female. And so men get that light kind of shone on them, that it's, you know, they're the abusers. And that is altijd case.
Okay.
But I think that it should be something that people should speak more about, bring more to light, and be open that it's not just men.
Absolutely.
It's both sides.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, sorry, just to touch on what Natasha said, right? So, as much as I fight in the gender-based violence for the abused victim, right? I fight for the rapist as well. And people think I'm crazy, right?
Yeah.
But I understand that there had to have been something in their dynamic when they were young that happened in their lives that also made them this person.
Yeah.
So it's not that I obviously condone the act that they done, but I understand where it could have come from. So understanding that also has given me a lot of power to talk about this, because I don't find that doesn't overpower me anymore. You know, understanding that they also went through something in their lives makes me feel like, okay, you know what? So So coming to the topic of men and men talking about it, and also women being the abusers, do you know that it is said statistically, that if you don't sort out your nonsense as an abuse victim, you become an abuser. So do you know how many cases of rape there are going on daily and in our country? So how many of these women then become covert narcissists or develop covert narcissistic traits or grandiose narcissistic traits, and in that they then start abusing their kids, right? Or not having time for their kids, or having more than one spouse coming into their home. So they then become the abusers in that regard. Yeah. So as much as it's happening to women, it's happening to men as well. And the fact that you are talking about this, you know, it's already a revolution in itself.
Tell me, I got a question. Can a rapist, like, or something like that, like, or a man that has done sexual harassment or stuff like that, can he be rehabilitated?
Yes, of course.
And have you if you were a victim, can you like forgive them? Is it easy?
Honey.
No, I'm asking that question because I think you got a little bit to elaborate about that yourself.
Well, you know, I'm grateful that you asked that, because this is only the second time I'm vocalizing this. So last year, I was all about this forgiveness. That I forgave Sinjay. Dakira Mohammed, I practice forgiveness. I don't have ego. Ego kills. I'm checking that ego kills dreams. I have no ego. I was working on my ego. And people ask me, they're like, yo, how could you write this book? And I was like, no, it's called Mercy for a reason. So I'm the author of Mercy. And it's called Mercy for a reason. And they're like, yeah, but did you forgive your abuser? And I'm like, yeah, of course, bruh. I didn't, because something happened where I actually had a miscarriage last year. And when I had the miscarriage, and it was a result of my womb not being okay enough to carry because of the circumstance of my rape, I became mal. You know, I was like, you know what, this sucks. And, you know, forgiveness went out of the door. So I actually went back to my hometown, my hometown where I was abused last year. And to practice the essence of forgiveness, I really had to walk the walk. So what I decided to do was to take to my social media platform, because I'm the only one that can keep me accountable. And I said that I'm in Johannesburg. I'm going to my abuser's house right now. I'm going to go and knock on the door, and I'm going to tell him that I forgive him. That I came to take my krag back, because it doesn't belong here anymore. Because I have people to talk for, people that are voiceless. And I said, this is what I'm going to do. Baby, I was beavering. Listen here, brother. I drove past that house probably 70 times. I'm not even joking. A yellow tank petrol. I was driving up and down. I'm telling myself, I was like, okay, listen here, God. I've done this. Everybody's waiting. And everyone knows that I don't just say things. And I went. And that's when I realized that I was ready to forgive, no matter what the outcome was. And I went, and he didn't open the door. But I knew he was there. I could hear him breathing on the other side. And that was enough for me. That was enough to reach the point where I told him, I said, I came here to take my krag back, my brother. I said, and I want you to know that honestly, I forgive you. And I'm sure everyone here can feel the energy that I'm talking with. I tell you, I forgive you for me, because I want to be free from you. Yes. Because you no longer own my body. Because you no longer own my mind or my heart, no pieces of my soul. And I said, and I pray that the Almighty forgives you, and this doesn't happen to anyone in your generation. And I said, I'm even going to take it a step further, and I pray that the Almighty has mercy on you on the day of resurrection, that you don't even get accounted for this act in this world. And I walked away. And the feeling that you're feeling here is exactly how I felt. So that is when you reach the state of, I understand, God. Listen here, bruh. I understand why you put me here, Kegi. Yep. It was junk that had to happen to me. But okay, yes. I've got people that need me. I've got the world that needs my voice. So I'm gonna cap on.
Okay, my question, how long did it take you to get to that point where
30 years.
30 years. How old were you when you were?
So my first violation, okay, I lied, it's not 30 years, it's 25 years. Felt like 55 years. So my first violation was the age of 5. And it went on. So I always say that when your blueprint of sex is rape, or molestation, then your world is never the same. Then the sex culture for you is never the same, because you don't know what it should ever feel like. You go on the basis of pain, or you go on the basis of fear, or you go on the basis of aphrodisiacs that are crazy. And that's why people have like these crazy like sex cravings and stuff like that. It's because your blueprint was so violated that that's all you know, that's all you crave for. But when someone unteaches you that, then you truly understand, then you can liberate yourself from that, because that's also a part of ego.
How did you get to the point of the unteaching starting?
Oh, honey, I told myself I'm done learning lessons about my pain. That's how I started. I looked at myself in the mirror for the first time in 21 years and said, you know what? You are damn well good enough. And you know what? I don't care who judges you. Judgment is for God. Judgment is for God. Go sweep under your own rug, my darling. But I'm here to talk about my truth, what happened to me, because I'm tired of being silenced in my body. I'm tired of the voices in my head telling me, Kiki J, it's one more day to your death. It's one more day to another suicide attempt because you're going mal. I was tired.
Okay, so like I'm normally the comedic element of all interviews, but I can't right now. But I have a lot of questions, and I hope you don't mind me delving into this.
Go for gold.
When your family found out about this, because it does happen. I can't say I've seen it happen in communities, but I've heard stories. It happens where there's a family friend or a family member that abuses the child, and then the way it's dealt with by the families varies from family to family. How did your family react once they found out?
So, I say this with the most love in my heart, because I believe that everybody done the best they could with the knowledge they had at that time. Yeah, if they knew better, they could do better. Okay, and again, saying that judgment is only for God, and that I'm at a place in my life where I'm saying this merely as a lesson for people to learn from, and not as an attack on anyone, because I love my family dearly. So at that time, because of, it's not my family, but because of the cultural background that I come from, which is an Indian Muslim female, right? From a small town, Lenasia. It's Masalaville, brother and sisters. I was in Masalaville. I'm born in Masalaville, okay? So it's an Indian Muslim female in Lenasia who is under the age of puberty. Yeah, so you're basically a lighty. You have no say. And because it was someone that was close, like all families, and I found it's not only an Indian thing, but it's abroad. The more I researched and the more people I started interacting with, it's a cultural thing, right? It's in the black culture, it's in the white culture, it's in the colored culture.
It's universal.
You see that welcome carpets when you come into people's houses, no? It got my story got swept under that welcome carpet, just like so many other people's. So that's why my slogan from last year was, I'm tired of welcome mats. If I come to your house and you have a welcome mat, we're going to take it out together, because I'm tired of sweeping things under the carpet. It's time for laminate flooring, my darling. I'm tired.
It's difficult to hear, but your story needs to be told. So I hope you don't mind me intruding.
No.
It's
never an intrusion. We're just having a conversation.
We're just having a free-form conversation. But there's quite a few interesting points that you guys mentioned, like especially like it seems to be a South African
It's
thing.
universal.
It's universal.
Is it you think it's worldwide?
It's
like,
a world.
It's definitely
'Cause
worldwide.
I mean
Abuse is an international thing.
I mean
that happens in families
It
everywhere.
doesn't ask race.
Yeah.
Some of the biggest criminals is the Catholic Church. I'm a Catholic, like, so I tend to have
The views expressed by Ryan Josephs on this podcast is his
my
views and
But I'm a
his
Catholic.
views alone.
But I'm a Catholic, so I can speak about that, because that's my feeling towards the church. And obviously, there's been there's how many times has priests been moved around from church to church. They don't prosecute them. Even sometimes they go to the Vatican and stuff like that. They still today that is going on. Like they're still wiping things under the carpet. Maybe in the communities within South Africa and in the black communities and the colored communities, maybe it's slowly being exposed.
No,
Do you think it's still like
no,
it's still
still
happening
very
till
much.
today?
you know.
We had this in. Okay, I'm not gonna.
Do you think the
we
trend is
also
going
had
higher or going low? Do you think it's happening more often or less often?
Honey, it's happening every day.
Yeah, it doesn't
It is
stop.
happening
It's
every day.
happening
It's like
every
pregnancy.
day.
It's
Yeah.
happening every day. The thing is, we are now in a 2022 where people can film themselves and tell their stories
Yeah.
and post it
Absolutely.
on TikTok.
Yeah.
So there's more freedom with people's words. People aren't as how you mood? Don't talk in the
Yeah.
picture when the adults are talking.
Yeah.
Now that same child can pick up the phone.
Exactly.
You don't
I've
want
just been this and that has happened to me,
Back in
etc.,
the day,
etc.,
we couldn't do
etc.
that. We were told to keep your mouth, don't sit with big people.
Yeah, don't
You know?
be big people's
I
conversation.
will tell you this much. I know of an abuse victim who was told, no, go sit on your uncle's lap.
But
Yes.
I was a ding
Ja,
met ons
That
oude,
was
ja.
the thing. The abuser
Nou,
was...
for uncle, let uncle kiss you and uncle tickle and moet jy...
Yeah.
Oh, ek wil vir uncle 'n
Ja.
backhand
So
gegee.
bad.
But
But
you-
that is
I
exactly
kind of like the attention, but let's keep it moving. There is this culture of, at least he is paying our child attention.
Yeah.
Which is, I find it revolting. It's
Yeah.
horrible. It is horrible. And I was under the impression that it is getting less and less and less,
No.
but I feel like it's still there. It is still there. Abuse is something that there's a lot of unlearning that needs to happen and a lot of understanding. And like you say, forgiveness. One of my favorite Eugene Matthews sayings is, me forgiving you has nothing to do with you.
Oh, yes.
I
yes.
love that.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
tell
of
people this
course.
all the time
Yeah.
because people wrong me all the time. And I feel that comes very close to what you were saying,
Yeah.
especially about the forgiveness. What was the thing that triggered you to get to that point of, you know what, I'm not going to keep this heaviness on me anymore?
So it's actually that you brought up the pastor.
Yeah.
And I don't know why I put this on my phone, but it's actually a piece from my book where I write a letter called Dear Imam / Pastor. And I think it's so important that I share a piece of this because I wrote this for the world. I didn't write it based on religion. This was for everyone in a religious forum who was hurting us because that was who I was hurt by. So if you don't mind, and then
Yeah,
I'm going
go
to
for
get
it.
into your question, right? So it says here, Dear Imam / Pastor, your title comes with a lot of fatalities and just because of a handful of you. Yes, I've learned not to generalize. What a shame, dear scholars of faith, that child abuser, child molester, and child rapist are the predominant nickname that your kind carries. I can't help but wonder if the stigma associated to your title becomes a subconscious night in power when you violate the terms and conditions of your religion. It seems as though the more innocent parts that are slain by you in sacrifice is a direct cause in your rank in society to become completely untouchable. This leaves me pondering deeply. Which side did you actually pledge to be a teacher for? So that's just a snippet.
Yikes! Ooh! Chills.
Yeah, so I actually wrote this piece, and this is where I came out.
Yeah.
Because I developed cancer from this toxicity of abuse in my body, and I was tired, honey. Sure. My body was tired, my body was clopping, my body was saying, Kegi girl, you're gonna die in a month. And I thought to myself, okay, if I'm gonna die in a month, then I might as well vocalize my truth. What do I have to hide? Nothing. I only have myself to hide, and I'm gonna be in a grave a month from now, and then what? What am I gonna leave behind? A klomp niks. Who's gonna remember that? Nobody. So I went on social media and I posted my story. And this was about 5 years ago and it went viral. And when I say it went viral, just the post to the point where this is what changed my life, bruh. This is the moment that revolutionized Zakira Muhammad. I got a message, it had reached over 500,000 shares. My post. And I got a message from the sex slave girl in India. She was a sex slave worker for 16 years and she was captured at the age of 16. She was in a cubicle. And she said that someone had just come to rape her. and he dropped his phone because he was so intoxicated. But if they found her with a phone, they were going to kill her because obviously she can't have a phone. You know. So she said she doesn't know if this message is going to get to me, if I'm going to read this, but please, I mustn't stop fighting for women like her. They're dying. She hasn't seen a mother. She doesn't know. She told me, she says the only outside world she saw was a small hole that she gets to look out of every day and to see the sunlight. And when I was in my isolation, all I had was a small hole to look outside and see the sunlight also. So my soul resonated with that moment. And in that moment, I told myself, I was like, listen here, it's them, it's my people, or it's Zakira, and I can't be selfish. So I chose them. So that's why I'm doing it.
The forgiveness section of my question?
The forgiveness section, I forgave myself, and that was enough to forgive anybody. I don't need other people. I don't need to forgive other people if I haven't forgiven myself for the violation that happened to myself. It's like the Snoop Dogg speech. I want to thank myself. I want to forgive myself for the violation that happened to myself. And when you reach that point where you no longer look for forgiveness from other people, oh, ek is so jammer ek jou seer gemaak. Hy shame.
And I think that's the hard part, is when you don't get the apology.
Exactly.
And even with me, with my abuser, up till today, there was no sorry. We would stand in court and he'll stand and say, ek het jou na geraak, daar sê 'n merkie. And I think to myself, ja, but ek en jy weet wat het jy na huis met my gemaak.
Oh no, you and God.
And yet, for years, I felt like, say net sorry, man. You don't even have to do it in front of people. Just say sorry to me. And I had to learn to move on and to forgive him and myself. Because to a certain point, you know, some people don't agree with what I said one day on one of the videos. I said, I get that he was the abuser. But ek kan nie alles op hom blame nie. Because ek het ja gesê elke keer. Ek het teruggekom elke keer. I was the one who said, nah man, but he's right. Nobody's gonna want me. En kom eigenlijk weer my pak elke weekend. Elke dag vat ek weer pak. It was also on me because I didn't know my worth.
Yes, exactly.
And then when you ask her about forgiveness, we can't move on until we forgive them. That was my biggest thing that was holding me back.
And then
every
I could forgive
relationship
myself.
I played on, every new dude that I was with, every relationship I walked into the same crap maniere. Because ek het nooit, ek het nie vir...
Dit het rigting gekry nie.
Ja, ek was toch altyd die probleem. Ek het vir hom saam gedra, oral in my lewe.
Facts.
Toen moet ek vir hom vergewe. En toe kom my lewe eers reg.
How old were you when the abuse started?
I met him when I was 23. I left him at 30. Ek was 8 jaar met die man, ons was getrouwd voor 2 jaar. And that even was also a big change. I was Christian. Then I decided, okay, you know what, I'm going to revert to Islam. I'm going to, do things the right way. I had a completely different, what can I say? Experience with Islam. To a point where when we talaked, I said, I want to go back to Christianity because this is not nice. There was... No offense to anybody that was part of the family, of his family. There was no support. You go there with a blue eye, you get told, but you must submit and you mustn't talk so back.
Sure.
This is what I got told. You speak
okay, so can
it's ugly things.
Yes, can I just say that is not Islam.
It's not
at
Islam.
all. And this is what angers me so much, ne? It maakt me so kwaad that you see people get the stigma of religion because of a person.
Yeah.
So you know what, ne? You don't have to be the best person, but just try and be good in character because you don't understand how much you can push someone away from themselves even. You know, abuse pushed me away from my own religion.
Yeah.
It pushed me away. It pushed me into the synagogues. It pushed me into the churches. It pushed me into the temples. I'm not shy to say this. It pushed me to the street corners where I would get word from a behi because they are also people. Do you know what I mean? That's where it pushed me because no one wanted to hear me also. But I needed to also understand that God and religion is two different things.
There we go. Sure. Yes. Say that thing. Speak on that. Speak on that.
It angers me. Yay. That is one thing. God and religion. Religion is bought. Religion is bought. Religion has a price tag. God doesn't.
And it's so surprising to me. I live in Kensington, and about, say, 50 to 75% of Kensington is Muslim people. So I won't say well-versed, but I know a bit about Islam. And I know that Islam is probably the most loving religion
Yes,
out there.
everyone just wants to give you some wasas and dalchis.
It's loving, giving, generosity, people standing together. Is that family in trouble? Let the community come together and help that person. So when I hear that, on the other flip side, there was no support when you arrived there with a blue eye and you must submit. Then I'm just like, ooh, the people here are not. It's the people. It's not the religion. It's the people.
It is the people, and it's also based on before him it happened.
It's a
Before
cultural
it's a cultural
thing. Like.
So and the next the person who's telling me submit is dezelfde persoon wat ook abused raak.
Yes.
And for her was haar nog eerder. And so that's why it's like that. That's why they struggle.
And I feel like we are, with everything that's happening out there, we are so lucky to be in 2022 where any person in the road can have a voice.
Yeah.
Thank you, social media. We couldn't just write a letter and then that letter goes viral per se. But now we can at least put a post out there and like you had what, 500,000? I will never see so many views on any of my videos.
Do you know what's sad? What I find is sad is now that people are using social media and they're using gender-based violence now to get likes. That maak my most Justin Bieber man. It makes me quiet because now there's so many stories that are coming out where this happened now to my friend or this happened to my and people tag me in it, right? Because I'm also an emotional and integral life coach. So I do rape counseling. So people would tag me in this and then I found out it's like a scam 2 weeks later. And in my mind, literally, people who know me and how passionate I am, I will drop everything. If you don't have the funds, it's not about that. It's about me getting you help, me taking you out of the situation, risking my life, going back into what happened to me, going into all of that just to help you, for you to take me for a joke. I also want to tell everyone on social media who's doing this, I see you.
Yeah.
I see you very clearly.
One of my lecturers had a saying, and I use this saying all the time. Allah slappy.
Allah, that's my...
Is that not a great line? Allah slappy.
Allah don't sleep. Allah don't sleep. Don't sleep.
That is staggeringly... That is to scam people with a story like that.
Just for
Good
social
grief.
media.
For
Just for likes. Just
For likes.
And then when our stories, the victims that it really happens to, when we talk about our stories,
then it looks like a crying wolf.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Like that,
and that's what I got told. I got told I was the girl crying wolf actually for years. For years. So I just want to
By
tell
your
people,
family?
men, by the world. Because what is family? The world is supposed to be your family, isn't it? If we're supposed to be brothers and sisters to everybody, then what is family? Because I'm supposed to come to Natasha or to you and to say, Buta, listen here, this happened to me, and you're supposed to not ask questions. You're supposed to stand by my side because that's humanity.
Oh, there's also a difference between family and relatives. So
do you know what I mean?
That's a different dynamic in the other conversation.
Yeah,
altogether.
so for me, it's a world thing. It's a world thing. It's not a family thing. It's never been a family thing. And I think that's where people also kept it so silent. As a family ding. Kan nie uit hier praat nie. The family's pride. The family's...
Wat gaat nog gesê langs dan en wat gaat dan
Tita must go and make her sisters by her house.
Yeah, and I worry
her sisters.
Look, there's sorry to speak of you, Ryan. I am a driving instructor in another life, and I had a conversation with one of my students. I call all my students my kids. Now, I picked him up, first lesson, and then I drove to wherever so that we can get the lesson started. And before I got to the point where I put him behind the wheel, we got into such a hectic conversation about shame. The shame that we are brought up with, the shame that we inflict on ourselves, the shame that we put on other people. And we were talking about it from a gay perspective.
Yeah.
But ever since that conversation, I realized more and more people grow up with such an alarming amount of shame. What gaat sy sê? Nee, you must blow your hair out. Look at your curls. Small little microaggressions that will grow up into a fucked up person, basically.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Shaming is such it's such a shameful thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your shaming is shameful.
It's so harmful.
And it's so harmful. It's so detrimental. Because you know what, no? Like, people that also have been abused and haven't really done anything and think they're okay. And then they hack it when they're 30.
Yeah.
Why? Because of all the shame. Like, you're carrying all this on your shoulders for so many years that you have to be this perfect person all the time. Perfection is for God, man.
Yeah, and society leer vir ons ook daai.
Yes.
You know, if you turn 30, then it's like, hy het jy nog getrou nie, wanneer gaat jy dan trou? Nou trou jy.
Hi, my
wanneer gaat jy
darling.
baby
Oh,
kry?
yes. Oh,
and
I'm
then
so
it's like,
tired
het jy nie
of
gestudy nie, het jy gesien, sy het matriek getop. Why is it, and then you grow up and you're like 32 and you're like, but no, ek het nou nie die huis met die picket fence en die kwaai Audi nie en die 10 kinders nie and the husband that's successful, then you immediately feel like
inferior.
But yes. So that friend of mine at the high school, he made it.
Yeah.
And I'm just a chick renting and
Yeah.
I've got kids and you know, oh, I'm a single mom. Nou sê ek minder as die next person, but that's our society brought us up. That's
But
how we
newsflash, that lady with the successful husband may not be as happy
No,
as she
people may
portrays
not.
herself to
Exactly.
be. Because that
Exactly.
successful husband, for him to be successful, it comes at a price.
Yes.
It does come at a price. It
And
comes at the
niemand
price
se
of
life is perfect.
nobody. But because of shame,
Yes,
we have to play the
exactly.
role of, "Ah, my life is fabulous all the time."
Beautiful.
Like the root cause of what I see is guys seem to be alluding to here, like the shame and many other things. Is like the communicate. It seems to be how you communicate to kids, or how
Begin
you.
van jonk af.
It seems to start with the kids and stuff like that. I seem to think like a little bit differently of how the kids are nowadays being raised. Maybe I'm living in my ivory tower and I'm isolated from the world, but I feel that kids are more open to communication. And then maybe this is me having false hope, but I think hopefully when they open to more communication, maybe some parents are open to being more open and listening and stuff like that. I don't know if all parents are, but the take you guys seem to be having on things is like there's that not all parents and not everybody is like on board for listening to new ideas coming from kids. But I would like to say that I'm trying. I like my kids to tell me about their emotions. How are you feeling and stuff like that? So they identify from very young about the emotions and stuff like that. Maybe this is like a I don't know, a chance for us to say to other parents and like to not instill that
Fear.
Yeah.
fear,
That
shame,
Yeah.
shame. What else were you
Even
mentioning?
feeling emotions. You know how we get told, or boys get told, moenie huilie.
Yeah,
There we
don't
go.
cry.
Can I-
Mate, why do they do that?
Can
That's
I
why
just
they don't-
brag about one of my friends? It was one of the most impressive moments that I've ever seen. A friend of mine has a son, and he came into the room and his eyes were wet. So I asked him, "What's going on with you?" "No, I just cried a bit, but I'm over it now."
Lekker.
Lekker, I like that.
And it wasn't a moment of you
Shame
mustn't
or-
cry. It's
Yes.
like a girl, you movie and all.
Yeah,
It
but
was
it's
none
like
of
that.
that.
We grew up
But
with
he
that.
was
When
able
we were
to.
young, we had that, and so is that what you saying? Is that did we passing it on, or we not passing it
Well,
on?
my friend is doing a brilliant job
Yes,
with her
she's
son.
she's
For him to
breaking
have
that.
that
She's breaking that
dialogue,
curse,
to be
yeah.
Breaking
able,
that curse.
for him to be a boy who can cry and not
In this
be
day and age.
shamed
Yes.
for it. Because I know when I used to cry, I used to get a beating of my life of what huil jy,
Of wat huil
moffie?
jy?
Ek vir jou read,
But
don't tell.
thank you. I fell out of the tree once and then I got a hiding for falling and for crying for falling out of the tree. Such little, it's like, I can laugh about it now because it was stupid, but like,
But you
if
still
that,
can remember it.
oh, I
That's the
remember,
problem. You
I
still
remember
can
it like it
remember it.
happened yesterday.
And you
I cracked
remember how
my
you hold
wrist.
it back. You remember how you
Yes.
stand there and how it
can't-
because you
I'll
can't
tell you,
get it
I'll
out.
tell you this much. I'm turning 39 in April, right?
Wow.
It's only since last year that I've started allowing myself to cry. I never ever, because of our whole life of
And how
don't
did
cry,
it
keep
feel?
it in, blah, blah, blah. Oh, it feels fantastic. It's
Lovely.
like it rained outside and the earth just feels clean again. That's how I feel. There was a time where I couldn't watch a man on TV cry. A male character crying on TV, then I am, because then all of it, it's really triggering to me.
Yeah.
And then I turned, how old did I turn last year? Then I turned 38 and I just got to this point of, you know what, fuck it. this is how I feel, and I should express. And I'm really good at expressing myself.
Yeah.
But expressing that particular emotion, couldn't do it. I feel so much freer now. I feel so much lighter now. Just that small little thing that I had to unlearn. And it took me 38 years
But you
of unlearning
unlearned it.
all that damage. But eventually I got to it. I don't know if I got to there on my own or if I had a wonderful conversation with somebody and then it just sparked something up a few weeks later or years later. I don't know the root cause of it, but that unlearning, very important.
Really.
And I implore all new parents or parents of today's children, don't make the same mistakes our parents made.
Yes.
Don't
It's
do
difficult.
it.
It's difficult. It's
It's
very,
not,
very.
though.
It's
it is 'cause
extremely,
it's an
extremely
automatic
difficult
thing with kids.
because
You-
I've got a son that's a little bit challenging with me, and you know how much time I don't know. People say that nowadays certain things are more prevalent, like ADHD and so on. I don't know so much about that, but kids are different these days. So to handle them, it's a lot more work than what we were where we came from. It's a way more complex. Even
Okay, yes, if you think about it.
Because-
even for them to stay like
Stimulated.
for them to
Just
stay
to play.
above the pack, for them
Yeah.
to it's so much more difficult
It's pressure.
as a parent, it's one of the most difficult things, and to not instill that generational curse back on my children is
To
what
break
we
it,
fight in every. I'm glad that your friend is coping with that, but I'm not.
Oh, she's not
I'm not
coping at
with it.
all. She's not coping at all.
It's a very
But
false.
the
It's a very
results
false.
are there.
It's a very false thing to say that it's easier for us. It's the most difficult thing. As a child, I got hit with a leather belt. Am I gonna hit my son with a leather belt? No, but because I don't hit him with a leather belt, I can't. How do I discipline him? Oh, go
don't
to
know
the,
any
go
other
to the,
way.
go
You
to the,
can
go
hit
to
him
the,
with a plastic belt? I don't know.
go to the
That
naughty
was supposed to be
corner.
a joke, oh my word.
Naughty corner. The naughty corner is proven to also put fucking mental trauma on a lady. So
How
what
though?
now?
But now the thing-
What now?
The thing
What
is,
now?
Box them.
And my son is 5 years old.
Peter has some
So
books.
so the
The
same
thing is-
trauma that you're talking about, like in a way, it might not be that
as
extent
big, but it's still a trauma to
it's still a
them.
trauma.
at a young age. And
So then you
how
choose
does it-
what is the less of the evil then.
yeah, what
You
how does
have to
it,
choose the less of the
and
evil.
how does it
And how do you
manifest-
choose? Exactly.
and how does it manifest in his life to
Yeah.
come?
Now
you know what I
what-
mean?
But
So-
I think that's where communication, sorry to break it down to it, I think that's where communication is
kids-
vital.
kids
right?
and communication
so,
back to
so,
the-
So explaining to them the concept of the naughty corner, explaining to them why it is
Yes.
that they're there, so that they don't feel boxed, so they don't end up growing up with complexes. Like, we can still do better. We don't have to be the best parents, but we can still try.
We try our best, yeah.
Exactly. And I mean, no one was... Man, if there was a freaking manual for the perfect
Yes,
parent,
exactly,
we would be manufacturing them like the Matrix. We would be cloning them, bottling them.
I still worry about like, yo, what am I doing like wrong? Whatever wrong thing I'm doing is like, yo, what am I doing is that's gonna mess him up in years to come or her up. And that's also why I'm having this podcast. Like, it's like I worry about my daughters. Like, it's like, what are they gonna experience in this country?
Sure.
You know what I
that
mean?
is so hectic to say.
The two of them, what are they going to experience at the age of whatever? Maybe as young as what you were, or at your age. What are they going to experience, and how am I going to
React to that.
not how I'm going to how am I going to act to it? How am I going to educate people about it? How are we going to change it? How are we going to change it?
Well, this podcast is a start. It's a good start.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The advantage that older generations of parents have over today's generation is the violence, is the abuse.
Yes.
That abuse kept the child small and quiet and all those things. But now that's not a thing that's in play for the most part, because there are still parents who are hitting their children. And I'm just like, that's a child. Why would you hit the child? Of course the child is going to be it's a child. Of course the child is going to be naughty. But there are ways of dealing with this child. You just need to up your game, step your pussy up, and then that will happen. So I lost my train of thought there completely. But like I said before, the advantage that the older generation had over today's parents, and I'm not a parent, I don't know nothing of it, but from what I see is that violence kept us small, kept us quiet, was an advantage to them.
And now that they don't have it anymore.
Now kind of learning cope, now they're gone.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
so more open now also. Sorry to break your word.
Yeah.
But like before, everything was kept in the stilter, like we said. You know,
Behind
Oh, you
closed
couldn't
doors.
even
my
have
ma
cancer.
used to tell me, hey,
And then-
go sit upstairs because Days of Our Lives is on. 'n kind moet nie Days of Our Lives kyk nie. Dan moet ek opgaan. And I won't sit because we mustn't watch big people stuff. But today, if you look at the kids today, they know about AIDS, they know about sex,
Everything.
They know
about
I can talk to my
Today's
boys about
cartoons are so adult.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
cartoons are adult.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
What
what's
do you
this
like
written
adult
for?
jokes in the cartoons. Yeah.
Yeah.
Who is this written for?
Yeah, exactly.
Small little.
So if we don't educate and if we're not open in communication with our
Yeah.
children, then we're leaving
We're
them
leaving it to the world
to
to teach
educate them, right? So it's either
Oh,
you-
like we were. Like we were.
exactly.
My mother has never spoken to me about proper sexual behavior and
Really?
looking after. And look, she was a single mother, and
Yeah.
it's awkward to have that
Nog,
conversation.
Didn't you have a-
conversation with my boys?
I'm very happy that that's happening. I am
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
happy.
Very nice.
happy
Did you
but
have the coming out conversation with your mother?
never once.
Wow.
Never once. Never
But she
once. But
knows-
then again, I came out of the closet on live TV. It's a long story. I was
But she
thrown
knows,
out-
obviously. She knows. Like,
How can she not know? Have you met me?
Yeah, but you know, some mothers like never mind.
No, she,
I'm not going to talk
that
about
lady
it.
knows her son sleeps with men. She knows. She knows. She knows. I won't say I'm vocal about it. I don't throw it in the face, but I'm also not hiding myself. I'm almost 40. I'm not going to hide
Yeah.
myself for anybody.
Yeah.
Especially not you, mommy.
So yeah, guys, we covered a range of things, but I think the basis of where we seem to be at is like the communication between the kids, how we communicate to the kids now and how it was before. It's like are people more open to talking, and how is that authoritative person? Let's not say priest or let's say any person in authority, because I mean the scub Scouts, there used to be that. So any person,
Cub Scouts.
Cub Scouts, sorry. Even if you talk about Cub Scouts, even though Harvey Weinstein, any person in like a authoritative.
Well, try it.
Sy minutes vir groot woorde is op.
Yeah.
Everybody in a higher position.
1
right?
minute remaining.
But trying to cover a serious topic here. Anybody in a higher position, like trying to like
Authoritative.
authoritative position. Anybody in a higher position trying to like catch on nonsense with younger people. That's basically what I'm trying to say. So
I
yeah,
didn't say that.
but I was trying to.
Hy try sy best.
Come on, guys. Thank you all for joining me tonight. And I think DJ Nantal, do you wanna cover a few things? We're gonna have a all female podcast coming up soon. We're gonna invite Thakira back like again.
Yes.
And we're gonna. So he's gonna fill you guys in a bit about that stuff.
Yeah, so myself and a few ladies have decided to tackle the female voice, or give light to the female voice, right? So I've asked a few ladies to join me. I won't personally speak because I can't speak for the females, and Natasha will be one of them. Hopefully you will join us in that conversation. Maybe we can work something out, because clearly you have a nice inspirational voice that needs to be heard.
And an amazing story.
True. Yeah, and watch the social media, the WhatsApp for the rest of the ladies. We'll reveal who it is and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's gonna be nice.
It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, man, guys. So just to wrap up, thank you for joining me, and you're gonna be hearing from more from each of these voices as the time goes on.
Where can we get your book? I would love to read
Mercy.
your book.
Actually, I'll stand. I'll stand. So you guys can just, inbox me on social media. You see, I've taken it off all the bookshelves. I've taken it out of all the stores. No, it's all right, I'll stand. It's okay. I've taken it out because that book was very sacred. So I'm busy with my second book at the moment. And my second book has nothing to do with my life. I decided to take it out because there was so much that I've shared. I felt like I shared enough with the people that were supposed to read it. But if you guys do want my book, I do have copies available. But it's obviously personal orders. So you can just hit me up, Dakira Mohammed on Facebook, The Conscious Revolutionist on Instagram.
Why the conscious revolutionist? Why that? I was thinking about it
to kill my
earlier.
ego, I have to be conscious.
Okay.
And so firstly, my page was called, before I was who I was now, my page was called I Can Survive, because I was suffering from
I remember
cancer.
that.
Remember that?
Yeah.
Then it went to, when I went into remission, I changed it to She Survives. And then I became the conscious believer, because it was a declaration back into my faith. It was a declaration back into myself. I just lost my first set of twins. And I named one Iman, which means faith. So I had to believe that there was a reason for me, and that was 3 years ago. And then last year, actually 2020, when I named my book Mercy, I decided on one of the shows that I'd done that I'm going to name myself The Conscious Revolutionist, because I'm already conscious, and ego is not a thing for me. So if you're conscious, then isn't a revolution what you're already creating every day? So
I feel like we still have so much to unpack. The show is too short. We still have so much more that we need to get to.
Let's continue this conversation on the female podcast.
Yeah,
definitely.
definitely.
Nee, moet ik nou my gender change to be part of this? I also want to be part of this.
Yeah, they're going to be recording in a week's time.
when is it?
Yeah,
We're starting
in a few weeks' time.
In a few weeks' time.
Yeah.
Lekker.
We're gonna be
Watch
recording
this
weekly.
space.
So we're
it's
gonna be
gonna be
recording
weekly.
weekly as just I'm also gonna be recording weekly. There's a MMA podcast, there's a all female podcast, there's a JoeZone, there's the Babbling Heads coming back. Oh yeah.
As I need space for the movies, the movies, the
Movie
LGBTQ
podcast.
community.
And you know what? This is a degradation to every other podcast out there. Who's doing as much work as us? Huh? Who's doing as much work as us?
Preach.
Safe. This is the JoeZone podcast. We out. Peace.
Bye.